Hi, here we are again at the beautiful Purple Valley Yoga Center, and I'm here with David.
Hi.
David is here teaching again, 7th year now,
Mm-hmm.
and we are doing some small filming today.
Yeah.
We were thinking of breaking down the twists
Yeah.
or the fundamental of twisting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought we could just talk about very basic ideas for twisting. Um, I don't think that the actions of a twist are really obvious in a twist. That sounds silly, but usually we're really focused on getting the conditions of the asana, getting the bind, or just getting into the position. Sometimes it's hard for us to really break it down, what we should be looking for, or what's going to be productive when we're doing the twist. And so always lengthening the spine, that's important in a twist. But I think you want to target the outside of the hips when you're doing a twist. And so I thought I'd look at those two ideas.
Yeah. So I just wanted to ask a question here. So basically, how are you coming to all these conclusions when it comes to breaking down the postures? Because I feel that every time I am practicing with you, every time you come to Purple Valley, I learn so much.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
so much of information that you are sharing.
Thank you.
Is it from observation of your own practice, students?
Yeah, it's kind of both. I mean, all I do all year long is talk
teach.
about the poses and practice and assist hands-on. And so you start to see patterns. I notice that Ashtanga is just a lot of patterns.
Okay.
And the more I do it and the longer I'm kind of staring at it, the more patterns I see, and they all kind of dovetail and fit together like a puzzle. And so I kind of wonder sometimes, well, why is this pose here in this sequence, Why are the Marchasana C and D where they are in primary series? Why is Bharadvajasana and Ardha Matsyendrasana where they are in intermediate series? And so then I come up with my own, I guess, theories that fit into my pattern, my system overall. I think lots of teachers do that, and I think you can even have different, this is like kind of going off course a bit, but different teachers have different patterns,
Yes.
And it's funny because the picture can be the same, but if you imagine the picture and then the puzzle pieces could be different. So we're all looking at, say, primary series, but the way that our patterns interlock together and fit together to make that picture might be different. We might have different explanations and different approaches.
Yes, definitely. And I see this very much in Purple Valley because I practice
You
with
see
so
all
many
these different teachers. Yeah,
I see
exactly.
so many different teachers. So it's interesting to just follow the patterns.
Yeah, but it's dangerous too, right? So what if you have two different puzzles of the same picture, and you take the box and you mix them together? You're screwed. Because none of those pieces are going to, they're not going to, well, they might, but they probably won't fit together the same way, even though it's the same picture, So I feel like I've, over time, created my system, and so I'm teaching people all these different things that work inside of that system, and it's in the overall system of Ashtanga, as in meeting all the conditions of the pose and, following that same sequence. And I know other people are doing the same, but I could see that they might have a different approach.
No, I think that you are so good in breaking down all the postures.
Oh, thank you.
So
Thanks.
it's really so, you are learning so much, or we are learning so much in the
I'm learning so much
classes.
too, all the time.
So now, since you asked the questions about why Marichasanas are in the place where they are in the primary series, or the twists in the second series, perhaps you can answer the questions as well.
Well, I think it's a good place just to twist. I mean, because we just did A and B, those forward bends, and there's a pattern to them as well. But I think the work that we do in C and D can start to prepare the hips for Bhujapadasana, Kurmasana, Supta all of these external rotation poses, deep external rotation poses, and in intermediate, the twists before the leg behind the head pose, the same kind of idea, deep external rotation. But they don't necessarily do that, right? The twist has to be in a certain way, or you have to have a certain focus in it to prepare that part of the body for the leg to go behind the head or for the leg to deeply rotate out. So because I think there is an intelligence to the way that it's sequenced. It's not just a matter of easy, harder, hardest. You know, it kind of goes up and down, and it seems to go into different places in the body in each pose. Yeah, so I think these are mainly about learning how to release the outsides of the hip and let the femur rotate freely in the hip, and then maybe also, or I'd say actually definitely, learn how to find extension while you're in a posterior tilt. So learn how to tuck under, but at the same time lift the back ribs. So you're not arching your back to lift your ribs, you're tucking under and lifting. Yeah, which is like a unique kind of movement that we do in all the leg behind the head stuff and Krimasana and stuff.
So do you want to demonstrate?
Yeah.
Or do you want me to demonstrate? And
Yeah, you want to demonstrate?
yeah, sure. What's easiest for you?
Let's do your, I can point at you while I talk.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's do it a simple twist. Let's do Marchasana seat. Okay, and let's do this leg bent because it'll be the one that the camera will pick up best, okay? Okay, so first when I do a twist, I figure all of the poses in primary series especially are based on Dandasana. You know, Dandasana is kind of the place we keep starting. Same way we've got this idea of Samastiti through all the standing poses. And so the Dandasana means that both legs are extended and the hips are together. If you read Yogamala too, Patabi Joyce describes jumping through like this all the time before you take the pose. Now we don't do that so much, but I feel like there's echoes of Dandasana, right? Okay, so you're gonna hold Dandasana as you bring your right leg back, and that means that your hips are gonna stay even. I know there's different schools of thought about when you twist, whether the hips should stay even or tip. I think they should stay even if they can, you know, and probably give where they need to give. So now when you twist, you want to make sure that you're twisting your right ribs back and away from your right thigh, right? That's pretty obvious. Like that's just the twisting action here. But you also at the same time want to make sure that your right hip is coming down and forward. So there's these two opposing actions of this right hip coming down and forward, and then the right rib lifting up and back. And you get the drop here with the hip by stepping into the right foot, by really pressing down into it and pulling, like that leg is active. Yeah. And then you can use your arm, you know, and you can use your lower belly to start to try to twist from here, trying to get your left ribs to come towards your right thigh. That's right. So we start to feel like there's length happening here between the right lowest rib and the right hip. So we keep dropping here, and then you want to lift your chest, but when you lift your chest, you don't want to arch your back. So you don't want to feel like you're going into an anterior tilt. You want to keep the posterior tilt, but you want to try to start finding length, like you're lifting out of it. So you really draw in through the lower belly, and then try to relax. Hold your belly in, but try to relax the muscles of the core to let yourself go just a little bit deeper in. Yep, and you keep focusing on this separation here. As this comes down and drops, you're going to feel a stretch right in the glute medius here and in the piriformis. You can feel it relaxing or maybe stretching. And you feel a lot of core engagement here without creating tension.
This is hard work.
It is really hard work, actually. Yeah. And this is the easiest of the twists, probably. Yeah. So this is what I'm always focusing on in Marchasana C and D, Bharadvajasana.
So are you pushing into your foot here?
You're stepping down into the foot, but don't push yourself back. Push or pull, really, the right hip forward with that foot. Yep. And then create length by pushing with your left arm, bringing your left rib through. Yeah, and then I always focus on this space here. This is why too I don't recommend that people like stretch that left arm in the air. One, it's not like a straight line with the vinyasa. You know, they do that extra stretch up before they try to bind. But I feel like that shortens this side. if there's a side we want to shorten, it would be, in this case, the left side, the side that we're binding with. That's it. And so here is the space that's opening up. Such an interesting space to breathe into
I
as
think
well.
that my right hip is completely stuck.
Yeah.
It's not moving.
Yeah, I don't think you'd want it to move, really. I think it's level and it's dropped right now, and you want to maintain this tilt, a little bit of this posterior tilt down, so you can feel your sit bone dropping towards the floor, and then the rib coming up and back. Yeah, I've been doing this for a little while now, and I notice a big difference for
In
me.
which way?
I've started to feel a lot more of the bandhas when I'm doing the twisting, and later on the deeper twists like Purnamatsyendrasana in third series really makes you find that space here to be able to, for me to get into the pose. One other thing I didn't mention is that we want to make sure that when we're doing all the work, we keep the weight forward, you know, towards the hips. We don't want to lean back because that's going to round the back as well. So even though you're in a posterior tilt, you want to feel, yeah, that's right, like you're coming forward on the sits bones. Yeah, there's a lot of opposing actions. You know, you're dropping, but you're lengthening. You're curling under, but you're leaning forward.
I find that in majority of the asanas.
Yeah, there's something about like when you can find all of those, that's something true
Those
in the
little
posture.
details, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it's elements of twists, but I don't feel like it was very simple.
No, it's quite complex.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think even just looking for that balance in the body, reaching for it, or you know, trying to understand it. You don't even have to understand it, but trying to understand it is actually the object of meditation in the practice. You know, just you're internal, you're feeling everything, and that's where you're supposed to be. So, you know, you don't even need to worry about success in that sense. You just have to reach for it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.